The Khmer Rouge, officially the Communist Party of Kampuchea, was a radical Maoist revolutionary movement that ruled Cambodia from April 1975 to January 1979 under the leadership of Pol Pot, whose real name was Salot Thar, and it became infamous for carrying out one of the most extreme and devastating social transformations in modern history. The movement emerged in the 1960s from clandestine communist cells influenced by both Vietnamese revolutionary methods and the Chinese Cultural Revolution, and it drew much of its early support from discontented peasants, students, and intellectuals radicalized by years of political repression, social inequality, and foreign intervention. Especially during the Vietnam War, when Cambodia suffered heavy U.S. bombing in rural areas. During the Cambodian Civil War, 1970 to 1975, the Khmer Rouge, aided by North Vietnam and China, fought against the U.S.-backed government of Lon Nol, gaining strength in the countryside while promising to end corruption, foreign domination, and urban elitism. When their forces captured Phnom Penh on April 17, 1975, they immediately emptied the capital and all major cities, forcing millions of people into the countryside in what they described as an evacuation, but which in reality was a forced march that killed thousands through exhaustion, starvation, and disease. Their aim was to abolish all traces of modern society, eradicating markets, private property, money, religion, education, and family structures in order to create an agrarian, self-sufficient, and completely egalitarian peasant state. The Khmer Rouge divided the population into old people, rural peasants considered pure revolutionaries, and new people, urban dwellers, intellectuals, ethnic minorities, and those connected to the former regime, with the latter subjected to harsher treatment, constant surveillance, and brutal forced labor in rice fields and collective farms. Anyone suspected of dissent, insufficient revolutionary zeal, or ties to foreign powers was arrested, tortured, and executed, often after false confessions extracted under duress in places such as the notorious Tuol Sleng S21 prison, where only a handful of prisoners survived. The regime also carried out targeted persecution of ethnic Vietnamese, Cham Muslims, Chinese Cambodians, and Buddhist monks, leading to acts later recognized as genocide. Their isolationist policies, combined with unrealistic agricultural targets, poor planning, and deliberate purges of their own cadres, caused widespread famine and disease, resulting in the deaths of an estimated 1.7 to 2 million people, about a quarter of Cambodia's population, through execution, starvation, overwork, and untreated illness. By the late 1970s, relations with Vietnam had deteriorated sharply due to border clashes and Khmer Rouge massacres of Vietnamese civilians, prompting a full-scale Vietnamese invasion in December 1978. By January 7, 1979, Vietnamese troops had captured Phnom Penh, overthrowing the regime and installing the People's Republic of Kampuchea, a pro-Vietnamese government led by former Khmer Rouge defectors. The remaining Khmer Rouge forces retreated to remote jungle bases along the Thai border, where they continued guerrilla warfare for more than a decade, sustained in part by covert international support from countries hostile to Vietnam, including China, and indirectly the United States. Despite being driven from power, the Khmer Rouge maintained a presence in Cambodian politics and insurgency until the 1990s, with Pol Pot remaining their figurehead until his death in 1998, after which the movement collapsed entirely. The legacy of their rule left Cambodia devastated economically, socially, and culturally, with millions of survivors bearing deep psychological scars, families torn apart, and an entire generation lost.
Efforts to bring justice came decades later through the establishment of the Extraordinary Chambers in the Courts of Cambodia, a hybrid tribunal that tried senior leaders for crimes against humanity, genocide, and war crimes, ensuring that the atrocities of the Khmer Rouge would be formally documented and recognized in history.